All right, everybody, welcome back. This is season 6, The Understanding of the Boiling Ice Show. I'm your host, Diego Dollaz, aka the freaking Florida Rican, for all y'all who want to know. Um, we're season 6, I said, episode 1. I'm joined right now with two lovely, very awesome people. My boy, Mr. Carruthers, or
Yep.
Currency Carruthers, as we call it, and Mr. Cutty. How you doing, boss?
Yeah.
Yo, what's happening?
All right, good. Great, great. Doing everything we can. So obviously the topic for today, kind of spawned off of a video I watched is, are you where you want to be? Are you where you want to be right now? So I randomly I saw somebody's story and it had a billionaire giving advice. And the advice went as is, um he said, my mother told me this when, in your 20s, try everything. In your 30s, know what you're good at. In your 40s, you know, make money at what you're good at, or what you do best. And then in your 50s, try not to do much.
Mm.
And that kind of hit me in a spot where it's like, okay, that seems like a good idea. I learned that, not just in money wise, but also in life.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So,
yes, that is.
obviously, in the second part of that is a pretty good one too, where he says, also, she told me in my 20s, you're gonna care what everybody thinks about you. So when you're teens and your 20s, you're always, when you're younger, you think, everybody's got a little laser focus on you. In your 40s, you really don't care what people think. You get to that 30s, 40s range, you really don't care what people think. And then at your 60s, you realize nobody gave a fuck about it in the first place. I think that
Mm-hmm.
kind of reigns true on everything you do. you know, uh, how I'm gonna say it is that I feel that, I was given the same thought where, hey, try everything, see what you're good at. If you love doing certain things, you're gonna stick to it. And if you can make
Mm-hmm.
money on it, obviously go ahead for it. How do y'all feel about that?
So it's like when you mentioned about people in their 60s, I feel like they try to pass that knowledge down to us, to
Yeah.
the younger folks, so we can go ahead and get a head start. Like, yo, don't care what these people around you do, or don't care how they perceive you or whatever. Go do you, and if you be the best you can be, then you can show the world how great of a talent you are, at whatever you want to pursue.
Exactly. I believe in that too, because it's like one of those things where no matter what, you're always gonna get. We're in a fucking society where we literally laser scope everything somebody does. Somebody takes a picture and it seems off kilter. We're like, okay, something's going on. We got to pray for this guy. Or we got to look out for this guy. If it's if they do something where it's just like we're laser focused on small things. I feel I understand what you're saying about that. So, what do you think, Alan?
I feel like in our 20s, like you said, we laser focus on the wrong things. And I think that's all the 20s is supposed to be. We should be we should be focused on the wrong things because then that puts in our mind like, yo, that was fucking stupid, dumb. Let me transition my focus into something that actually should matter. And then you gain that knowledge to do so because you already know what not to do. And
Yeah,
always in knowing what not to do, there's a switch that turns on a knowledge factor in your brain that you start learning other stuff and you're like, I don't even know where this stuff came from. But and by doing and by messing up and by going into something that like you originally didn't think you were going into, you unlock that pathway, you know. So like I was talking about with my mom last weekend, and she said, because I asked her, I was like, how does it feel to have your second child, about to reach his 30s? And she was like, it's really weird, And I told her, I was like, well, I feel like I haven't done, or I told her I feel like I'm not where I should be at right now.
yeah,
Like, I I did all this stuff in my 20s. Went out, lost my mind, focused on fucking
Mhm.
chasing bitches and shit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Buying drinks at the bars and strip clubs, whatever. Like I focused so much on having fun and like wanting to go out. So then when I go and I get into a real world job or whatever, and I start interacting with other people, and then there's like someone in there who's like 22, 23, and they're like, "Yeah, I already got my degree." I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck? I don't. I got
Yeah.
all. I can show you how to do fucking Jaeger bombs though, like a champ. Like I got you." But
No, oh, yeah, go ahead.
um, but because but that's what you were supposed to do in your 20s. In your 20s, you were supposed to do all that nonsense because you get it out of the way and you focus. And like when you get to your 30s, your focus is no longer on those types of things. You
Yeah.
know, you don't care about
Yeah.
it anymore. You don't care that you're still wearing Fila's even though everyone's Nike and shit. You don't care that you're still rocking Tim's from '07 and everyone's telling you to get the Steph Curry's. Like you don't care about that shit anymore.
Oh yeah. No, you 100%. I mean, it's funny because you're saying the feelers, and I'm like, I actually got like 3 or 4 pairs of feelers, and they kind of rock it. So it's like,
A new one.
I but we're not talking about my wardrobe here, are we? Damn, you almost like you gonna call me out on this. Say what the fuck?
Is
No,
your
but
wardrobe where you want it to be right now? Is your
yes.
wardrobe?
Is it wardrobe? Do you want them Nikes or do you want them? Like, I'll be honest. It's funny we're talking about wardrobe. I've got what like Jordans that I've had since like the army days, like when I was in Colorado. So that was like 2012, 2013. I just, it's other things like that where you're right. It's 100% where you're like, okay, well, am I where I want to be? Obviously, in my 20s, I was probably running around doing the same thing you were. I went to college for a little bit, but didn't feel that that was something I wanted to do. At that time, I was like, okay, I'm not really ready for college. And you're right. When I get to my 30s, I got, there's guys over here in their 20s. They're like, yo, I got a degree, I got this, I got that. I'm like, bro, I got my partying out the way. My 30s was basically, just having, it's getting to understand where I'm at. You did my little thing in the army, obviously out, and I'm like, okay, so now I kind of know where I'm at with certain things, and I'm like, all right, my focus now, my later 30s. Okay. Now I know what I want. I know what I'm going for. I've got, certain things I'm striving for at the same time. And it's like you kind of want to look at some people and if I were to say where I want to be, or am I at where I want to be? Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously there's certain things, like I've got a younger brother that, right now he's actually doing pretty well. Did kind of the same track I did, but he's got his own place, this, that, whatever. He made the smarter decisions, and it was like, that's where I kind of want to be at, but I understand why I'm at where I'm at right now. There you do certain decisions, you make certain decisions, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like, damn, if I can impart that on younger people, I'm gonna do the same thing. I've told many younger people, I'm like, look, straight up, this is what I think you should do. Obviously you're gonna be young, dumb, and reckless, no problem. That's what's gonna always happen, because we all got that same thing. We all want to kind of be rebellion against everything, but understand, eventually you're gonna hit that either you're gonna hit rock bottom one way or another, or you're gonna hit that realization that you're like, okay, so this is what happens after all of this shit. Am I gonna keep going with this, or am I gonna do something else? Do I want to strive for greater, or do I want to strive for what I'm at right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, to do that in your 20s. So in your 30s, you can, just get a little bit of focus, and get a little bit of tunnel vision on it so you can see if it's really for you and then dig deeper and grow onto it. And so by the time you're in your 40s, you spend your 30s or maybe half your 30s like trying to master it to the
Mm-hmm.
best of your ability. And so by the time you hit your 40s, hey, you ready to go hard for the next 10 years and then see
Yeah, that's
reap the
100% on that.
benefits. Yeah.
Yep. Because at the same time, like, you look at it, because a lot of us, I don't know, there's maybe one or two of us that have probably gotten the, the advice. You hear all the money advice, the financial advice that
Yeah.
there are certain things you need to do. Like my father's imparted that on me quite a bit about being physically conservative with money. Like you've got this where you got to put that they're here for that certain amount of time for rainy day. Sometimes I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I take that to heart, and I've actually done that a little bit. And then other times I'm just like, fuck that. Especially when it was like you came back from a deployment, you were like, I'm gonna blow the money as I I hit what I could at first, and then just blew my money out of the fucking water. It's just that was in my 20s and
Yeah.
late 20s, early 30s, and you were like, damn. But yeah, you're 100% right on that. Like your 40s should be okay. Master that money that you got, keep it going, and see what you can do with it. So that'd be like, even if you do it in your 30s, that's great because you're one step ahead. Like putting it in stocks, putting it in like a compound, what is it, the compound deposits where you can actually let your money grow. Or military wise, you had the IRAs, the Roth IRAs, was it TSP plan?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The thrift savings plans and all that kind of stuff. Or 401ks out in the regular world. Like it's one of the big things that you got to look at is now, okay, let me let my money grow, because otherwise you gonna end up like some of these guys on the street, literally just drinking, asking for $1, or and it's just like, for what? You're gonna be
What is
begrudging.
401k? Like what the hell is that? Like I'm just gonna stop at $401,000. Like why do they call this shit a 401k? Like what the fuck is that?
We'll have to get this on another subject. Well, I'll
Oh
probably
yeah,
talk to
yeah,
you,
my fault.
but no, you're good. It's basically kind of like the TSP or thrift savings plan. It's basically the outside version of what the military taught, had us do, like the Roth, that IRA stuff, where it's
Mhm.
I mean,
basically,
I know what it is. I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
why is it called that? But that, yeah, that is
I,
another.
that's a
Yeah.
good question. That's another question we'll probably get into eventually, talking about that. Get somebody who's more physically, money wise on that. Um, Maybe even John Quill. We'll get him to talk about it a little bit, kind of like
Hmm.
brainstorm for like before we do another episode. But and the thing is it's basically just same thing as the thrift savings plan for the army. So it's basically, I guess, how they called it over there, how they call it in the business world. And once you retire, you can get your 401k, get the money out of it. The company matches whatever you put into it. Most companies do. Some I'm not entirely sure about, but it's from that kind of thing. And it's funny because we talk about. I saw this question, and I've seen all about finances and all that. I actually asked. Little fun story I had was I talked to I'm dating a girl recently, and I asked her a question. I'm not gonna say the name of the woman and all that, but I asked the question. I was like, "Are you where you want to be at?" And she said, "What do you mean?" Well, I was like, "Well, you're telling me all of this, telling me her life story and all that." And I'm like, "You're telling me this, and I feel like if certain situations were different, would you have done the same thing you did now?" And she thought about it for a few minutes, and she said, "No, I would have done things a lot more different." And I was like, I kind of laid it down. So you would have done this, 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 and this way. She's like, "Yeah, I would have actually done it that way." And I was like, got you. Sometimes my point on that one is that sometimes, in our 20s, we tend not to try everything because we're scared of everything. We're like, okay, well, we're going to do it this way. We'll see what's comfortable. We go by feelings and this, that, whatever. Obviously, that's a big major thing where you see a lot of people where they're at now. You see people with, 3 or 4 kids, they're single parents, or they've got, there's other situations where that happens, or you see
R.I.P.
people, huh?
R.I.P.
Yeah. And then you're like, damn, bro. So, it's you've got other people that don't get to those, unfortunately they pass, or other things like that happen. And you see people kind of just not pursue their goals, pursue their dreams. Do you see that a lot? Is my question. I guess me rambling on about it, but
Pursuing their dreams and not their goals.
yeah, they don't even pursue that. They kind of just go with the status quo, and they're not. They finally realize when somebody asks a question, "Are you where you want to be?"
all of
Yeah, I
like
see it a lot in Atlanta. I
yeah,
mean,
I
I
see that
mean, in every city, like
I work with.
Yeah,
yeah, it's the status quo. It's having it everywhere.
yeah,
That's why it's the status. But yeah, it is everywhere. So I mean, I do feel like people give up,
yeah,
and completely, just I'm just gonna be this. I got to take care of my kids, so I just have to, just work all the time, and I don't have time to do anything else that I need to, that I want to do for myself. So
yeah,
you just the older you get, the more tired you get. So
Yeah.
yeah.
like,
Oh, you're 100% about that one, man. I'm on my 36. Sometimes it's like I get out of work, I just pass the hell out. I'm
yeah,
like, bruh.
that nap shit real, bro. You need that shit when you trying to go hang out with some folks later. No, you need to take a nap. If you don't, bro, you ain't making it.
Oh,
You
you're
ain't making that shit,
100%. I
bro.
mean, yeah, Alan, you can tell the times where we're like, we go out, we're like, we straight from work, we're done. We get off a unit, we go fucking party down in goddamn Syracuse.
Oh my
And
god.
that's it. God, I remember those times. And then we fucking barely make it back up to fucking Fort Drum, and we're like, bruh.
No more, man. Not when you're chasing after the things you eventually want to chase after. And I think it's just motivation where people lose it too. Like the older you get, the more I guess like motivation you tend to lose.
Yeah,
Kind of
Yeah,
depending. But it also depends on like it also kind of just depends on your lifestyle though too. Like if you're if you're attributing and kind of falling into the trap that not only society lays down for you, but the world in general, and you kind of fall into that trap where it's like, you know what, this is what I had envisioned for myself is a pipe dream, and it sounded good when I was thinking about it, but now like I'm in a good spot where I'm making decent money, I'm doing okay for myself. Like, why would I fuck this up? Because eventually it's going to come to the point to where no matter what you're chasing, there's going to be something that you have to give up. Call it the law of equivalent exchange in this aspect.
yeah,
You want something, but you have to give something up. And I'm pretty sure like when you think about it in that way and you look back at you know everything that you've accomplished up until this point, there are so many things where you're going to be like, holy shit! In order for me to get in order when I made this move and it got me to where I was supposed to be, what I give up in that process. And I
yeah,
think about that shit all the time, like all the time. Like I didn't pay attention when I was in high school because that just wasn't in my brain capacity. And what did I give up for that? Well, I gave up fucking probably getting a scholarship to continue to go to college and stuff like that. But then look what happened. I ended up joining the military. Yeah, I gave up a lot of other shit for it, my life and like, friends before I had before this. But look at what I also gained. I gained, you know, uh, a program to help me go to college. Like,
yeah,
okay, cool. Like that's like it's stuff like that. And when you think about it in that aspect, I think that would help people gain a little bit more motivation to go after, because like even now I still ask myself that to this day, like, dude, on my week, so like I work during the week, right, and then on my weekends I tend to I tend to focus that more on schoolwork and stuff
yeah,
like that. So what am I giving up in that process? Well, I'm giving up not hanging out with my friends or going fishing whenever they do, or going out and getting fucking blasted with them. I'm giving that up in hopes of gaining something that's gonna transcend my mental well-being. I'm not even gonna say transcend my life, because degrees now don't really mean shit, but like it's more like I'm getting my degree for something more important to me rather than trying to get ahead.
yeah,
But then there's also other things that I'm doing. So I'm also doing other classes like work. So I'm achieving and gaining this stuff in aspects, but what am I giving up in that process? When you go to a bar, yeah, you're having a good time. What'd you give up in that process? Time spent with a loved one, or you time spent playing a video game, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
There's that exchange for something. And I think I think when you or I think when if people looked at it in that aspect, they would actually they would actually probably be like, you know what? I actually am where I'm supposed to be at right now.
yeah,
I did everything I thought was right, and it brought me to the situation I'm in now. And you know
Yeah.
what? It's right. Now, I can't speak for anyone who's like, well, I'm in a terrible situation. Well, that's your fucking own goddamn fault. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk.
that's pretty much what you're saying. That's your own fault because you made those choices to be
Mhm.
where you are right now.
Yeah. That's like the same thing I said with when I asked girl I recently dated not too long ago. I was like, "Are you where you want to be?" She then gave her gripes, and I was like, "Okay." And, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be harsh, but those decisions you made got you to where you are now. It probably would have been a lot different if you chose the path that maybe you would have thought about it a little bit more. You would have gone from there. You didn't go on what you wanted at that time. If you would have, certain things you think about the long goal, the long way. Okay, this is what I want. This is how I want things to go. You would have eventually seen that, okay, well, this is how no matter what the traverse you make in life, sometimes you decide to stop at a certain spot and you say, you know what, this station right here seems like a good idea.
Hmm.
I could keep down the road, the subway road and see how it goes, or I can stop at this station, see if I like it, and go from there. If it's not, then I'm gonna try and keep on going. It's what you said though is true. The law of equivalent exchange is a good one because no matter what you do, there is something that happens that you have to give up, which is like okay, and eventually it's gonna be like Cuddy also said the same thing. It's their own damn fault. If you're at the part where I'm doing horrible, this, that, whatever, bro, at the end of the day, you chose your path. We can't sit there and tell you, oh well, you can hit a button, go back in time. Nah, and we all have this ticking clock. Unfortunately, it's called life. That it doesn't stop. It keeps going. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about okay, well maybe I can stop time, and I can go back. Nah, bro, you got to understand. You either do what you got with the time, or you don't. And the biggest thing, I guess, it's you both kind of stressed on it is that no matter what, you are where you want to be. You are where you're at now because the decisions you made. We all made decisions. Obviously, right now, I'm at where I want to be. Or I feel like I'm kind of where I want to be. Obviously, certain things, you're like, okay, well, I made this decision, I made that decision. No matter what, it's the decision I made. Same thing with you, Cuddy. You got the same point where you're like, okay, I made these decisions. Right now, I'm still making some more decisions. Eventually, you're gonna be at that spot where you feel like, okay, what I base my decisions on, what I decided to go with, is where I'm at now, where I want to be. Same thing with obviously John Quill will feel the same way. And same thing with you, Alan. You felt that at the time you made the right decisions. Obviously, we all look back on it and say, hey, this ain't, yeah, I could have done the same thing, like could have done the same thing for high school. My
Hmm.
ass was thinking too much, too much of having, doing other things. My mind was on so many other things that I wasn't focused on, school. Obviously, I went to college, I went to what is it? Junior college, and then after that, I was like, you know what, this ain't my thing. I'm gonna go to the military and see how that went. Yeah, yeah, it's fun, right? You jump into different things, and then you go back to the real. I decided after 9 years, go back to the real world and how it goes. I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing now. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's tiring, but I made that path and I made these choices to get to there. And I feel like I feel kind of I am where I'm at. Feel like I'm at where I want to be right now, but I know I can still strive because obviously, like I said, what the gentleman said there, I'm not sure who he is, but I know he's a billionaire. It says that in your 30s you're trying to get everything, make sure that you're doing what you're doing, you do what you do best. Obviously, make money at what you do best in your 40s. It's best to start early sometimes too because you never know if you're good at what you do, you can skip that 30, that many years, and you could do it in less time.
Hmm.
It's just that, like we said, trying everything was great in the 20s because now okay, I've got certain limits I got for here, and you go from there. So I can tell people in their teens, teenagers and all that, people that are just getting out of high school, this is what have fun in your teens, and you're 18 to 21 to your lower 20s. Then after a certain point, you're either gonna keep going to do the same thing, or you're gonna figure out that hey, I got to do something different because the world don't stop. The world doesn't say, okay, well you only made this much money today. Well, we're gonna cut everything down on price so you can have fun. Nah,
Yeah.
Bro, you better be able to keep up with the money, because otherwise you're gonna be sitting there broke.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You just got to do like take advantage of the opportunities that get presented to you when that will propel you forward, and then just go off that. If you don't know, be like, well, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not. Look around you, look at the opportunities that are around you, and then figure it out. Like just go through that. It's your own path. It's your own journey. Um, I'm like I'll personally say like I'm not where I want to be, but that's not in a negative way. I In all retrospect, I'm exactly where I should be. Personally, I'm not where I should be, but I know I'm on the path to getting to where I want to be or need to be.
Yeah.
You know, I look at it in that sense because what I'm telling myself is going to be a lot different than what the outside's looking in. You know, I'm telling myself, yeah, I'm not there, but that's because it's motivation for me to get there. But when you come into my world and you look at everything, you're like, oh damn, like dude, you're actually doing really fucking well, or you're actually where you're supposed to be. I think you're where you're supposed to be, and it's like yeah, it's that's how I think about it in those two aspects.
Yeah. How about you, Cuddy?
Yeah, man, I agree with him. Like it's just crazy how life works. Like it's like just like if I never met Quint, like we wouldn't be on the show right now.
Yeah.
Like if I
Yeah.
ain't choose to go to Savannah State all them years ago, like but their motto is you can get anywhere from here. But it, it's just true. But like damn, you just never think about like I mean you get asked the question when you're younger, like where do you see yourself in 10 years, and like how many people you think are actually right? Like
You're right. 100%. Like, people would ask you, "What do you see yourself when you're older?" And you're right, 100%. None. We say so many shit. We're like, "Oh, I'll be a marine biologist. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing that." You
Mm-hmm.
know,
mhm,
where some people, I'll give a number out, which is probably not gonna be true, but at the same time, I'm gonna say about 60% to about 65% of the people that said those kind of things aren't where they're at. They're at a different path. They're not doing the same thing that they said they were going to do when they were younger.
yeah, yeah. Like me and Quentin though, like not too long ago, a dude we went to school with did some horrific stuff, and now he in prison now. So like it's just crazy. Like someone you was around, had a good time with, just did some crazy stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's like it was really like about 10 years ago. Like when shit like that happened, like it's just word is so crazy. And sometimes even though you try to put yourself in the best position, I don't know if it's luck or whatever, just like energy or whatnot, however you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
something that's not in your control, does happen.
Yeah.
So
It's the thing. Sometimes, yeah, it's divine luck. Sometimes it's the chance that, hey, you weren't supposed to be here, so you good. Because you
yeah,
never know what happens. It sucks because it happens like that often. I mean, I'm in my late 30s. I've literally just got messages for like a 20-year reunion, and I'm like, damn. I'm looking at the photos of like school pictures. I'm like, well, this person ain't around anymore. This person's in jail. That person's this. This is like, you look at it and you're like, people unfortunately choose different paths and they do certain things, and then you look at it and you're like, well, what happens if I was there? Sometimes we all play that what if game, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna close off with this one because I know we all got certain things to do, but we all play that what if game, and sometimes you just really can't play that what if game. You just gotta, unfortunately, your mind will tell you, okay, well, this is gonna be a. Are you sure you want to do this path? Are you sure you want to be there? Because you've got that little thing in the back of your head that says, okay, it's that logical part that says, hey, are you sure this is where you want to be at? Because you never know at the end of the day. That one step you take, that one step you decide is that one stop you want to go at, that step you take outside, all of a sudden isn't exactly the same step that you should have been at. Something happens, it goes from there. And again, I want to congratulate both of y'all for being on this podcast with us. With me, with John Quill, and it's awesome to have you guys here. It was actually a very good episode we have here for our first episode. Obviously, if you guys have any plugs, you guys doing anything, let me know. You can say it right now. Cuddy, you got anything?
Oh, me and my brother working on a couple projects. Hopefully, getting to the finishing. You know, coming around the home plate as far as finishing the projects. But if anybody wants to listen to some beats, you can just look up Cutty Row, Cuttyrow, and give us a listen. And look forward to what we have coming in the future. And follow us at Cutty Row on IG.
All right, awesome. Alan, you got anything?
Hey man, if you guys know anyone that is in the cybersecurity field and they got any tips or advice, let me know. On top of that, I'm trying to create my own comic book series. So if you guys
All right,
have any
cool.
my own comic book series,
Yeah,
so you guys have any ideas for characters or whatever, just send them over my way.
I got you. I got you. Awesome. Again, me, yeah, I know what I do. Obviously, running this season again, this season now for season 6, the understanding for the Boiling Ice Show. My partner in crime, also a great friend, John Quill Stewart, doing a couple things as well. You can catch me on IG. You can check out we got I believe it's a YouTube channel. We'll try and throw some stuff on there. We have a group on Group Me, so we'll get some of you guys on there, and then we also have a Facebook page. We'll probably get into IG eventually. We'll talk about that and all that. But then again, I'll say thank you guys for coming on the episode for us. We're gonna get you guys on some more, and we'll go from there. All right,
Appreciate
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
it. Of
no
course.
problem, man. Stay blessed.
You guys too.
Yeah, you too.